What's going on, everybody? How you doing? How you doing? Welcome to episode 17 of Laser Show. I just sneezed. I'm allergic to you listeners. All 19 of you. Thanks for tuning in to, episode 17 of Laser Show. What a nice number, huh? 17. Jake Delhomme. Shohei Ohtani. Devin Funchess. We're talking, you can see rated R movies. 17's a nice number, isn't it? God, I wish I was 17 again. Oh, that was my peak. Senior year? Oh, get real. Homecoming king. 17. You know, the most common final score in an NFL game, in NFL games, is 20-17. So really, 17 has a big impact on my life, and I hope it does yours too. No bigger impact than episode 17 of Laser Show. I just got back from a little stint on the road I did. And it was the first little chunk of shows on this tour, the Party Angel Tour 2024. Holy Jesus, did this tour get off to quite a start. I mean, crazy shows, good shows, crazy times, good times, parties. Hey, I'm the party angel. I'm sent from heaven above to bring the party to the people. I can't promise you a great comedy show, but I can promise you that I'll go party with you after. And I sure did. And I'm reaping the repercussions. That doesn't make sense, does it? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It was a crazy 2 weeks. And I'm here to tell the tale. I don't know how much of this first chunk I'm going to get through. So many things happened. I reckon I'll just talk for like half an hour. And then wherever I stop is where I stop. And that'll be part one of the Party Angel Tour of the Laser Show podcast. That's what I'll call it, verbatim. Oh my goodness, what a time. This tour started in New Orleans. This run of shows, what was it, 10 cities or so. And the Party Angel Tour is freaking huge. Look at my tour poster if you haven't already. This is even more dates than The Boy with No Brain. And let me tell you, show-wise, it's gotten off to a much, much better start than The Boy with No Brain. The shows have been fantastic to start off the tour. Sold out a couple of them even, which is pretty rare for old Rye. But I reckon you just got to do smaller venues, huh? Therein lies the rub. That's the ticket. So I do some small venues and I pack those fuckers out. And I call it a sellout. What do you think of that, Matt Rife? What do you think of me selling out a cidery in Austin? A place where they make cider and sometimes do shows. Oh, hot start. So this run of shows from March 12th to March 23rd starts in New Orleans and ends in Davenport, Iowa. And regular listeners of the show, you guys know, both of you know, that I love to return a rental car to the same place. Save truly like $600-700. The one-way fee from New Orleans to Davenport, or wherever I would have flown out of, $600. Especially all the miles. I put 3,100 miles on this Toyota Camry SE, which I've always wanted to drive a Toyota Camry SE. And I finally got to drive. Aren't they just the sexiest little things? And it was fire truck red, lipstick red. Oh my God. A dream car for a reasonable man like myself. That's my dream car. Bright ass red Toyota Camry SE, the Sport Edition Toyota Camry. Oh, it was the sexiest thing, and apparently I'm a Hertz Gold member. Not to be confused with the movie Austin Powers Gold member. I am a Hertz Gold member, which means this is the first time this has ever happened to me. They send me a text and go, hey, you're a Gold member, so just show up. You don't have to talk to anybody. Just walk to the Gold section in our parking lot and pick out any car you want in the Gold section. And I picked out, I can't explain this. It's a lipstick red Toyota Camry SE. And I'll get to that in a bit. But I flew into St. Louis. Here's my big plan. Fly into St. Louis. I'm looking for cities in between New Orleans and Davenport that I could fly into and then fly out of. Here's my big plan. I'm gonna get this tour starts on the 12th. I'm gonna fly into St. Louis on the 11th. And so I did that. Took a red eye to St. Louis, landed in St. Louis, and then just spent a whole day driving. Nice little chill drive day. Listen to some podcasts. Listen to the sports gambling podcast. It's probably my favorite podcast going right now. Listen to a little Locked On Panthers. Maybe even a little Conan Needs a Friend. Maybe even a little balcony chatter with my friend Tim Taylor. Listen to podcasts for a whole day. Really tough drive, I'll be honest. After a red eye, and then to get in the car and drive I drove like 8 or 9 hours down to somewhere in Mississippi. And but anyway, so then I get to St. Louis, get my rental car. I pick this lipstick fireball red Toyota Camry SE. Get in the car. Lower than I thought. That was my first instinct. This is a bit low. It's a bit sportier. I knew it was such a sexy, sporty thing, but it's a little low. I got used to it. I start driving. The first thing that I notice about this car, as I'm driving down the highway for 8 hours, is that it kind of sounds like the window isn't all the way up. Like you can kind of hear on my side, on the driver's door. It feels like there's like a little bit of air coming through. If I can give you an example, it might be something like this. And I'm trying to, I roll the window up. It's up all the way. Like, what the heck? It's ever so slight. And I'm thinking maybe I'm just overreacting. Maybe that's just how the wind sounds on the window of a Toyota Camry SE. I don't know. I've never driven this car before. It sounds to me a little bit like there's like the window is almost open a little bit. But it's not. And it wasn't. And we'll get to that in a bit. I drive all the way to somewhere in Mississippi. I frankly forget. Somewhere in like northern Mississippi. And I rest my weary head. This like shitty hotel just off of the highway in Mississippi. I committed to just a whole ass day of just driving so that when this tour was over, or this run of shows was over, I could just return my car to St. Louis, which is 4 hours from Davenport, which was my final show. Woke up, drove 4 hours, returned the car, easy peasy. So many things happened on this trip, good and bad. I wake up day 2 in wherever the hell I am in Mississippi after having a delicious Subway sandwich the night before. I have a Subway sandwich gift card that I got for Christmas from my parents. I like Subway, and I don't really subscribe to the Subway hate. I think it's obviously like the worst sandwich place, but it's also just like a sandwich place that you know what you're getting, and they're everywhere. And you can make it and ask what you want, and just go down the line and say I want this and I want that, and they give it to you, and it's fresh and it's fine. And it smells a little bit like chemicals, but they're everywhere and they're fine. I don't hate Subway at all. I actually kind of like Subway. I love the hate. Hey, haters are gonna hate, aren't they, Jared? I really like Jared. I like the things that he's done. He's actually my hero and my mentor. Anyway, I wake up day 2 in Mississippi. And I'm going to drive now to New Orleans to start my tour. I have a show at the only comedy club in all of New Orleans. New Orleans is a big-ass city, and they have one comedy club. And it is called the Comedy House of New Orleans. And I got this show because some fella named Dan, what up, Dan? Dan reached out to me on Instagram and goes, "Hey man, I live in New Orleans. Is there any way I can get you down here to do a show? What's it gonna take?" And I said, "I don't know. Get a venue." Hold on, I can't tell if this is recording. I'm gonna stop this for a second. And oh, there it goes. Is that? You can hear this echo? You guys hear this echoing right now? Ooh, hello. Wow, trippy. I've never seen that feature. It's a feature that looks like a speaker. Huh. I've never turned that up before. Anywho, might play with that in the future once I need like a cool echo effect. That's fun. I use a QuickTime Player audio record feature, and I'm holding this little microphone in my hand, and I'm sitting on my couch with my shirt off. And just to give you a little behind the scenes, just a little sneak peek. Anyway, I say to Dan, yeah, I don't know if you can find a venue. If you know anyone that has a venue, I'll absolutely go to New Orleans. Would love to. And he goes, "Let me see what I can do." This guy reaches out to the comedy club. I'm like, Jesus, the comedy club? I thought it was just going to be like a brewery or something. He reaches out to the club as if he were my agent. And he like gets me a show at this club, the Comedy House of New Orleans. And he is promoting it, and it's just him. He got me his roommate's father has an Airbnb, beautiful pool house behind his house. Let me stay there for free. Just because he's a big fan. Got me the show, got me an Airbnb. So I'm driving down to New Orleans. On the way down to New Orleans, I'm driving through Mississippi. And I say to myself, man, the next Walmart I see, I'm going to stop at Walmart and I'm going to get some waters. To drink, of course. I'm going to get some waters and some energy drinks. And I'm just going to throw them in my trunk. I'm going to have this car for 2 weeks. I'm going to fill the trunk with some waters so I can hydrate by drinking them. And also some energy drinks to keep me awake. And I find this Walmart. I'm driving through McCall, Mississippi. Or Macomb, Mississippi. It truly does not matter, but it's the middle of nowhere, Mississippi. I see a big sign for a Walmart. I pull over. I go to this Walmart. I go into Walmart. I get a 12-pack of some waters. Some Pure Life, Nestle Pure Life. It's like 18 cents for a 12-pack of waters. And then I go to the energy drink section, and I'm looking at the energy drinks. There's some Red Bulls. There's some Monsters. And you know what I've never had before? I haven't had this Celsius. This Celsius craze has escaped me. I've never had a Celsius. They sell them in my gym. I got friends that love Celsius. You know, Jerry from my gym is always sucking down a Celsius, and he's jacked. But people love Celsius. Or so I've heard. I go, you know what? I'm going to get some Celsius. I got some Celsius, 12-pack. Water, 12-pack. Leave. Open my trunk of my Fire Lipstick Red Toyota Camry SE. Put the waters and the Celsiuses in the trunk. And then I close the trunk. And immediately realize I have just left my keys in my trunk. My keys are in the trunk. I took them out of my pocket when I was opening the trunk, and I dropped them in the trunk while I was putting the water and stuff in there. Never picked them back up. Closed the trunk. The keys are locked in my trunk. Every door of the car is locked. I am locked out of my car in Macomb, Mississippi. I'm going to say it is. Outside of this Walmart in Ass Piss, Mississippi. I think, oh geez. Luckily, I was early. I had plenty of time to get down to New Orleans and get to the show on time. I'm not totally freaking out. It is just quite an inconvenience because I would love to get to the Airbnb and just take a nap, which I can never do, but I always try. So I call AAA, and AAA comes. I call AAA and I tell them the situation. Go, my keys are in my trunk, and they say, a lot of these newer cars, you can't get into the trunk through the inside of the car. You can't lower the back seat on a lot of these newer cars. It's a security feature. And I don't have a key to get into the trunk. I can only get you into the car. And I think, cool, great. I really hope you can lower the trunk from the inside. Otherwise, this is going to be a real waste of time. So this guy comes, AAA comes, and it's just a guy in a little, it's like a Honda Fit, a tiny little, I thought it would be like a cool AAA truck. But no, it's just some guy, some really young guy, 25-year-old guy in this Honda Fit, pulls up, finds me in the parking lot. This your car? Yeah, this is my car. And I always thought AAA, when you lock yourself out of your car and they get you in, I always thought they had a universal key or some sort of a device, a magnet of some sort, to just open your car. But no, they break you into your car. This guy used a crowbar to open the driver's window, and then he has a little inflatable thing, and he shoves the little inflatable thing in the crack, and he starts inflating it. It's like a heart pressure thing. He's pumping it with his hand, pump, 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 and he's getting the gap bigger and bigger till he can have a nice half-inch gap that's open on the driver's door without shattering the window. Lo and behold, I'll get to that in a second. So it's the very top corner of the door. He's open it up, then he gets this big metal stick with a hook at the end, and he has to shove that in there and try to unlock the door by just fiddling with the lock. And he goes, "Can you jiggle the handle? Keep pulling the handle. I'm going to keep trying to pull the lock. We're going to work together." And I'm working together with this guy. And we get the door open. And the alarm starts going off. Nothing we can do about that because I don't have my keys. The alarm just has to go off until it stops. And it does eventually stop. But open the door. Then I open the back door. And we go into the back to see if it's a seat that can be lowered from the inside. It is not. It is not. Nothing truly can be done. We have to call a locksmith. But oddly enough, the back seat, the middle seat in the back, is pretty well bent. It's bent forward a little bit. And when I post this, I'll include a picture. I'm going to include a picture of the back seat because the middle was a little bent, and as if someone had been stretching it, pulling it, trying to get into the trunk before. And then it all hit me. The previous, or maybe not the previous owner, but one of the previous renters of this car has gone through this before. Because the back seat is bent, damn near broken forward. Doesn't look great, to be honest. It's like a good 2-3 inches off from where it should be. And you'll see in the picture on Instagram. And that explains why I was hearing that wind sound when I was driving the car, and it's because someone has had AAA come, or whoever, and break into their car, because they have to bend the top corner of your front driver door back. And then when you close the door again, you can see it's a little bent out. So there was a little bit of wind getting through. And I realized that that's what had happened. Someone has been through this exact situation before. How crazy is that? So this guy calls a locksmith, and he goes, "They'll call you. I can't do anything, so I'm going to get out of here." He just leaves. I was like, "Okay, see ya." So I'm just waiting in the back seat. I'm Googling locksmiths in Macomb, Mississippi. Guess what? There aren't any. The one that he called was like half an hour away. And the guy didn't call me for a long, long time. So I'm Googling, I'm YouTubing, is there any way to finagle a way to get in, a way to lower this back seat so I can get into the trunk? Is there any way? And there's truly no way. The only way to lower the back seat is through the trunk. There is a lever that you can pull, and the lever is like all the way towards the back of the car, near the tail lights. It's a little circle that you put your fingers behind it, pull towards you, and the back seat folds forward. And as far as I can see, that's the only way to get the back seat down. I think, well, shit. But I can't find any locksmiths, and this locksmith that this guy called is not calling me. I'm sitting in this hot car in Mississippi, and I gotta get out of here. So I start shoving my arm into the crack of where this back seat was bent. And someone had done this before. They've done this exact thing, and I hope they listen to the podcast. Hey, if you rented a 2022 Toyota Camry SE lipstick red and you broke into your own trunk, or tried to, I don't know if this person was successful. But because the back seat was so bent, and thank you to this person, because the back seat was so bent, I could pull it back a little bit and I could see into the trunk a little bit. And I see a wooden stick, and it's a windshield scraper for the snow. And I reach down there and I grab it. I try to see if I can reach my keys with it. I can't. My big fat suitcase with all my koozies is in the way. I can't reach my keys. I dropped my keys on the other side of the suitcase. Then I get the brilliant idea. What if I try to use this ice scraper and reach way, way back in the trunk, really sacrifice my arm, get a rash for sure, but really stretch and see if I can reach that lever that you have to pull to lower the back seat. And I stretch my arm. I'm holding like the absolute very tip of this scraper. Like I'm using the full length of the scraper and the full length of my arm. My arm is completely, fully into the trunk, up to the shoulder. And I'm holding this scraper by the tip, and I'm just jiggling it around. I can feel like a wire. I'm feeling a wire, and I can hear a wire being like clung, clung, clung. And I'm rubbing the wire with this scraper, and I'm like, this has got to be the wire that goes from the back seat all the way to the lever thing. This is the back seat lowerer wire. I can feel it. I think it is. And I'm reaching it, clung, clung, and it just keeps going further and further back. It goes all the way to the other side of the trunk. It's so far, and I'm fully stretched. Y'all. I don't know why I'm acting this out right now. You can't see me, but I'm fully stretched right now as I was then. And then I can feel the end of it. I can feel a little nub. I give it a little push, and it doesn't do anything. Give it a little push, and it just misses. Give it a push. Give it a push. Give it a push. Finally, I get a nice heavy chunk of it, and I get a nice push, and then kaboom! The back seat falls down. The back seat falls down. It collapses. I get into the trunk of the car. I get my keys, and I drive to New Orleans. I fucking broke into the trunk of my car, dude. Straight Bear Grylls shit. I felt so good about myself. And as I was driving away, very proud, I was driving for another hour before the locksmith called me. I would have just been sitting in that car, and who knows how long it would have taken for him to get to me, and how much it would have cost. Locksmiths are expensive as hell. I had a friend lock herself out a few years ago. Said it was like $300 to get into her own apartment. So I was so stoked. I was so stoked on myself. You could not tell me shit. Meanwhile, I get a message from. So that's how this trip started, and that was not the first. That was not the last disaster. It was the first, but not the last disaster I would face on this trip. This was disaster after disaster on this trip. The shows were great, and then a whole bunch of bullshit happened otherwise. But today we're just talking about days 1 and 2. I'm 24 minutes into this podcast, and I'll tell you about the show. I get a message on Instagram from Brad Williams. Do you know Brad Williams? He's a comic. Big comic with 300 and something thousand followers. He's a little person. And which I'm not just saying that. It is important to the story. He hits me up on Instagram. And he doesn't follow me. I've never met him. But he hit me up. And he goes, "Hey, man, I'm in New Orleans. Saw your show, tonight." This was actually the day before, I think. He goes, "See, you got a show tomorrow night? Wondering if I could hop on." And I said, "Yeah." I hit up the guy who was running Dan. I hit up Dan, who's a civilian who put this show together. And I go, "Hey, is it cool if this guy does a set?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course, for sure." So then the next day, I'm messaging Brad as I'm driving through Mississippi, and I'm like, hey, they want you to send a headshot. They're cool with you doing a set. Pop into a quick set, and they want to, promote it. Send them a headshot, and he goes, no, 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 no. It's got to be a secret. He's too famous. He can't announce. He can't announce a show. He's like, I'm doing a big show in New Orleans in November, so I can't announce any other New Orleans shows. And I say, all right, fine. Don't help me promote the show. Guess what? Didn't need it. Sold out. Sold out. The Comedy House in New Orleans. Really, it was Dan and like his friends. It was Dan and his friends and his parents and his friends' parents. It was not sure. I don't know how much of that room was there that knew me. It was mostly friends of Dan. Thanks, Dan. Hey, a sellout's a sellout, bitch. Fuck you. So I'm go to the club, and I'm hanging out. And I was messaging Dan, and he says, dude, I went to check out the club last night. And, Brad was doing a set, and I heard that Wee Man is in town. I think they're, like, filming a movie together. I go, oh, shit, that's cool. He goes, tell Wee Man to come to the show. Like, DM him and tell him. And I'm like, no, dude. No. I'm not trying to be the third most famous person at my own show. So I'm like, no. But anyway, so I'm hanging outside the club before the show. Two little people walk by. I think, oh, must be Brad. I go, hey, Brad. Brad turns around, and he gets all offended. Not offended. He looked all like confused, like who was calling him, and because we've never met. And then the confused look on his face was made me so nervous. I was like, shit, did I just call the wrong person Brad? Was that just offensive? Because maybe he's the other one. And then the other one turns around, and it's fucking Wee Man. Wee Man came to the show. I fucking meet Wee Man. He goes, hey, I'm Jason. I go, no, you're not. I didn't say that. And I turn around, I'm looking at Dan and his friends, and we're just making these shocked faces at each other. Oh, my God. Fucking Wee Man is at my show. And so I meet the host, guy named Ryan. Cool guy. Ryan's forever. Fuck Brian. I go, who's featuring? And he's like, we don't have one. And I was like, oh, fuck. Oh, no. I go, who's featuring? And he goes, oh, Brad's featuring. I go, oh, I thought Brad was doing just a guest spot. He's like, no, he's featuring. As of yesterday, we just found out he's going to be here. Now he's doing a whole half-hour set, 25-minute set. And Brad certainly didn't know that. And he was like, yeah, this is dope, man. I just wanted to do a 10-minute set, and now I'm doing a 25-minute, and they're paying me. This is great. Thanks for having me. I'm like, hell yeah, dude. He went up, did great. I went up, did fine. And Wee Man was sitting in the crowd. Well, he was a friend of Brad. They're in town together to film a movie. I imagine it's some sort of a little person themed movie. If not, hey, cool, good. Good for Hollywood. Or New Orleans, I suppose. But I don't know what the movie's about. They couldn't tell me. But it's cool. I got to meet Wee Man. So Wee Man was watching, Brad's set. There's buddies. Brad was telling me about what it's like to go and hang out with Wee Man. It's like he's so famous. It's just constant people wanting pictures. So Wee Man was a little, stressed out, I suppose. Being out in public at this fucking comedy show for some guy he doesn't know. And I go up, and I have a pretty good set. I had a couple jokes that flopped, but it's overall pretty good set. But every joke that didn't work, man, I was reeling. I was like, damn it, Wee Man just saw me just bomb that joke. Fuck, that joke just sucked in front of Wee Man. My idol. I love Jackass. Johnny Knoxville goes to my gym. That was what I was gonna say to him, had we been able to hang out after. We did not. I finished my set, felt pretty good about it. Really nice, polite crowd. Good peeps. And, go back to the green room, and I go back to, I'm selling my koozies after the show. Made a killing on koozies. And, not a killing. I sold a good amount of koozies. Then I say, where's Wee Man? And the host was like, oh, he left before your set. Him and Brad left immediately after Brad's set. And he goes, in Brad's defense, Brad did say he wanted to stay for the whole show and watch you. But Wee Man wanted to leave because he's probably tired. He's probably tired from being wee man. He's so wee. The poor guy is so damn wee. Weeman. His name is Jason Weeman. Now I know why he's wee man. I know his first name is not wee man. It's Jason. I learned. So his name has got to be either Jason Weeman or maybe his middle name's Weeman. Anyway, I was pretty bummed out that he didn't see any of my set, but part of me was relieved because I had a couple jokes flop. So I'm like, okay, at least I didn't like totally crush, and Wee Man missed it, and he would have gotten me on the next. I could have been the next Poopies. I'd love to be on the next Jackass. I wouldn't do too many things, I suppose. I'd do a couple other things. But I never got to hang out with Wee Man. But then went out in New Orleans, went to Bourbon Street, got absolutely ripped, lit. The Party Angel tour was off. It was on. It was both off and on. The Party Angel tour had kicked off. And what a wild first couple days. Locked myself out of my car. Met Wee Man. I met Jason Weeman. Had a great show. Went out on Bourbon Street. Had a great night on Bourbon Street. And that was the first couple days of this run. And that's gonna be part 1, Laser Show, episode 17. Party Angel Part 1 is what this will be called. Or I don't know what I'll call it. But that's boy, folks, do I have so many stories from this experience. This was perhaps the craziest 2 weeks of my life, and that was just stories 1 and 2. That was just stories 1 and 2. I got loads. It's been a crazy time. I hope you tune in. There's going to be things that come back full circle, like these fucking Celsiuses. I guess that's probably the only thing. But there's a lot of drama. Crazy things happen. Tune in to episode 18. I'm sure it'll come out in, I don't know, a week or 2. Thanks for listening. This podcast is sponsored by NASA and Google and Apple and Napster and Disney and Nestle and Keto Bread and Lysol and Kleenex. So thank you to all of my sponsors, and feel free to send me a picture of your big juicy tits. Thanks for listening. Talk to you next time.